Most people live their entire lives without ever realizing the power of their own mind. They wake up every morning, follow the same routine, move through the same streets, talk to the same people, and fall asleep with the same thoughts. Day after day, it repeats, not because they wanted to, but because they've never questioned it. It feels safe. But deep inside, something feels off. There's a quiet feeling, a subtle discomfort, a small voice that whispers, there has to be more than this. Most people ignore that voice. They scroll, they distract themselves, they stay busy. But the voice never really goes away, because that voice is your mind trying to wake you up. Imagine walking through a world covered in fog. You can see just enough to move forward, but not enough to understand where you're going. Everything feels familiar, but also limited, predictable, controlled. That's how most people experience life, not because the world is small, but because their mind is. And then one day, something changes. It might be a thought, a question, a moment of curiosity, or even a feeling you can't explain. But suddenly, something inside you shifts. You begin to sense that there's more to think, more to feel, more to become. And that's when it appears. A door, not a physical door, but something you feel, a possibility, an opening, a chance. It doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't force itself on you. It simply exists, waiting, and you have a choice. Ignore it and return to the fog, or step closer and see what happens. Most people walk away because stepping toward the unknown is uncomfortable. It brings questions, doubt, fear. What if I fail? What if I'm not ready? What if I lose what I already have? And just like that, the door stays closed. But if you're different, if you decide to listen to that voice, if you take even one small step forward, everything begins to change. The first step is never dramatic. There's no loud music, no instant transformation. It's quiet, almost invisible, but powerful. Because the moment you step forward, your mind begins to expand. You start noticing things you never noticed before. The way people think, the way you react, the patterns in your life, the limits you've accepted without question. And suddenly, you realize something shocking. Most of the limits you believed in were never real. They were created, built slowly over time, through fear, through experience, through repetition. And now, you're starting to see through them. But this is where it gets difficult, because the moment you begin to grow, your mind fights back, shadows appear, doubt becomes louder, old thoughts return. You're not good enough. This won't work. Go back to what's safe. These thoughts feel real, heavy, convincing, but they are nothing more than shadows, and shadows only exist when there is light. The stronger your desire to grow, the stronger the resistance will feel. That's not a sign to stop. That's proof you're moving in the right direction, because growth is uncomfortable, expansion is uncomfortable, change is uncomfortable, but staying the same, that's the real trap. So you keep going, step by step, thought by thought, and along the way, something unexpected happens. You begin to understand your own mind. You start seeing your thoughts instead of being controlled by them. You notice your fears without becoming them. You observe your doubts without obeying them. And in that moment, you gain power, not over the world, but over yourself. And that changes everything. Because once you realize you are not your thoughts, you become free, free to choose, free to act, free to create. And that's when something incredible begins. Creativity. Ideas start flowing. New perspectives appear. Problems that once felt impossible now feel like puzzles. Opportunities you never saw before suddenly become clear. Your mind stops being a prison and becomes a tool, a powerful one. You begin to shape your reality instead of reacting to it. You start asking better questions. What can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? What if this works out better than I expect? And slowly, your life begins to reflect your thoughts, because your mind is not just something you have, it's something you use. And most people never learn how to use it. But just when things start to feel clear, the storm arrives. Challenges, setbacks, moments where everything feels uncertain again. You might fail. You might doubt yourself again. You might feel like you're going backwards. This is where most people quit, because they think progress should feel easy. But real growth doesn't work like that. It tests you. It stretches you. It forces you to become stronger than you were before. The storm is not there to destroy you. It's there to shape you, to show you what you're made of, to push you beyond your comfort zone. And if you stand firm, if you keep going, if you refuse to go back to who you used to be, something powerful happens. You change, not on the outside, but on the inside. Your mindset shifts. Your confidence grows. Your awareness expands. And suddenly, the storm doesn't feel so scary anymore, because you understand it. You've faced it. You've survived it. And now, you're stronger because of it. And then, one day, everything becomes clear. The fog is gone. The doubts are quieter. The fear no longer controls you. You see your life from a higher perspective. You understand your journey. You recognize your growth. And you realize something most people never do. You were never stuck. You were never limited. You were never incapable. You were simply unaware. And now, you're awake. But here's the most important part. This journey isn't just about you, because once your mind expands, you begin to influence others through your actions, your words, your energy. People notice. They feel something different about you. Something calm, something confident, something real. And without even trying, you begin to inspire them, to question their own limits, to see their own potential, to hear their own inner voice. And just like that, the cycle continues. One awakened mind leads to another, and another, and another, because awareness is contagious, growth is contagious, and courage is contagious. So if you're hearing this right now, if something inside you feels different, if a part of you is starting to question everything, that's not random. That's your moment, your door, your opportunity. You don't need permission. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to take the first step, because the truth is simple. Your mind is more powerful than you think. Your potential is greater than you believe, and your journey is just beginning. So take a breath, step forward, and unlock your mind.